losing 54 bucks trading LUMN. Kind of a small cap trade. I don't usually trade these guys very much, but I had been watching it the past couple of weeks, and I had been seeing the run up, and I was like, okay, if this thing starts to establish backside, I would not be opposed to playing a short on this. So that's what I decided to do, and I got out today. Let's just take a peek at it right now, and I'll show you why. And we'll talk about it. Actually, I got out. Let's see what I got out at. I got out at 553. It's currently 561. My original stop was up near 598. I'm just getting out now because I just do not like the looks of it, and I want to just get the hell out of it because it's not really setting up to be what I want to see. So what I look for on like short squeeze plays to play into my strategy is I got to see a breakdown, and then I got to see a second level of breakdown, and then that's what I want to play. Because you don't want to, I don't short this randomly. Like I'm not going to short randomly on the way up. So I got to see it push up, start to kind of consolidate, and either fail the next leg or consolidate and then leg down. And that's exactly what we kind of had right in here. Consolidation, leg down, next leg of consolidation. If we break underneath the 480 level, that's where I got in. And then I was looking for that next leg down. And sometimes they can be really aggressive legs down on these small cap trades. And I was looking for this gap to fill actually in here, which will put us back down under $3. I was targeting $3 on the trade. So from 476, I believe is where I got in. Yeah, 476 down towards 3 would have been a big move. I was looking for a swing. It was not going to be a short-term trade, necessarily like a 5-minute. It was a bigger picture swing. Just didn't work. Took my $54 loss, and I'll happily take that and move on. As you can see, though, this is taken on the 4-hour time frame. So the funny thing about this one is that about the situation is if you were to go back to last video, you would see like, oh, not the best start of the month, and we continue to have that. We have now lost 7 trades this month, and we have broken even on 4. So this is now getting into really getting into territory of like a good red streak. And hopefully we can turn it around. But again, it's not like you can think about that from like, oh, well, the next trade should be green. I don't know. Like, this is one of those things that people talk about a lot. The trade recap, I think, is very simple, but the approach is where it gets complicated, because when people talk about their strategies and their, this or that, I think it's very interesting because I like to learn how people think. And what I don't see a lot of people talk about is how they handle this type of stuff. Because let me tell you, it is inevitable. Like, it 100% is inevitable. You are going to have streaks like this. Like, this is what the game is, because you're going to have green streaks like this too, and hopefully they can be longer in on average, but you never know. You could, and I might, and I'll probably have one at some point. I think I did a couple months ago, like a 12 in a row green streak or some shit like that. That's awesome, right? It doesn't always happen, that nicely, but this is what happens. And so a lot of people end up spiraling or hiding this, like there's not a lot of talk about these situations. And so how do you get out of this situation? Well, obviously we'll see if I get, but I guess there's no way to know. It's the future. But how I've gotten out in the past is trying to think about the strategy more than the trade, this trade versus that trade versus the P&Ls. That's all irrelevant. If I see a good setup going forward, I will trade it. And it just so happens that the past 7 trades or 11 trades have not won. 11 trades have not won. I can't control, right, what's going to happen next. I could look at this and say to myself, well, there's a good chance that to finish out the month, the last 2 weeks, we go on a decent run, relatively speaking. Maybe that means we win 10 and out of the next 15. I don't know. It's not going to be 10 in a row. Maybe it could be. But that's kind of how you have to think about it versus, oh my God, like this next trade should probably work, so I'm going to go hammer it. Like, no, no, I don't know. And this has kind of been, historically speaking, my August experience. It has not been the best. In the past, though, I would have spiraled, or I would generally spiral more aggressively, meaning that like I would be frustrated, I'd be pissed, and all these things, and then it piles up to potentially doing something stupid. Whereas the plan here is I originally planned this out and thought to myself, I want this to be one of my best Augusts or my best August of all time. Does that mean it has to be green? No. I could actually lose the rest of the month, but if I take really good quality trades per my strategy that have worked over the past 16 months that I've tracked, I'm going to be very happy with that. Even if it ends up being, you know, my biggest red month of the year. I don't know. So that's kind of how I look at it. Maybe that's not how someone else wants to look at it. Maybe that is how it, I don't know. It's good or bad. That's just kind of how I view it. So we'll see what happens, but that's the recap. I'll leave a link to TradeZilla where I track it all below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.